Hey, hey, hey. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. It's another Relationship Friday. I am Rachel Hunter, your licensed clinical social worker with RDH Counseling and Consulting, where we help you become your healthiest self. I'm excited to be here with you all today um, on this Relationship Friday. I hope everybody has had a great week. This has been kind of like my days were off this week. I'm going to be honest. My days were off this week. So I am excited to be here. I'm excited for Friday. I'm excited to talk about what we are going to talk about today. We are talking about self sabotage. Are y'all doing that? Are y'all sabotaging your relationships? So we are going to talk about that today. As you come in, make sure you let me know where you are tuning in from, because y'all know I always like to um, shout you out. I always like to see where my people are joining in from. So as you come in, let me know where you are tuning in from. And y'all know I'm doing 16 things at one time. So bear with your girl. But let me know where you're tuning in from. How has your week been? How has your week been? I want to know all about that. Let me know in the comments and let me know where you are tuning in from. All right, so we're talking about self sabotage, and I want to talk about that because. Hey, everybody. All right, so let me make sure I got that down. Okay, so I want to talk about that because this is happening a lot in our relationships. We are sabotaging. And I work with women, I work with men who are self sabotaging. And sometimes we don't even know that we're doing it. So we're going to talk about that as you come in. Hello and welcome to another Relationship Friday. We are going to be talking about self sabotaging. If this is your first time joining us on a Friday for our Relationship Friday lives, let me know in the comments. But just to give you a brief overview of what we do on our Relationship Fridays, we talk about all things relationship. This is an adult conversation. And we talk about things that happen in relationships. And it's with the purpose and it's with the goal of helping people in their relationships. And even if you're not in a relationship, so don't feel bad like, oh, I don't have a relationship, this isn't going to work for me. It still is important because it does challenge you to look at yourself and to see how you can grow, enhance yourself so that when you do get into a relationship, you are your healthiest version of yourself. So make sure that you all share this, invite someone to come in, and I am excited to talk about self sabotaging. So, tonight we're going to do a little bit of teaching. I want to talk about that because a lot of the individuals that I work with are dealing with that, right? And so, when we talk about self sabotaging, it really is this unconscious behavior that's happening. And a lot of times it's having to do with fear. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to be talking about what it looks like, why it happens, but then most importantly, what we can do to stop it from happening. And that's what's going to be really important, right? The tools necessary to help us not continue making these same um, choices and not engaging in the same type of behaviors and patterns that are creating dysfunction. Because when you think about relationships, right, it really is the idea of connecting with other people. Like, why do we get in relationships? Because we want to connect. We want to have this sense of intimacy with someone else, this connection. We are created to connect. And so when we are not able to do so, or we are afraid to get hurt, then we engage in self-sabotaging behaviors. The truth of the matter is, though, you are doing things that are stopping you from getting exactly what it is you want, which is a connection, which is a healthy relationship. So it is important for us to talk about that. So we are going to hop right on in here. Invite people to come on in and let's go. Let's go. So, when we talk about self sabotaging, I want you to kind of think about what comes to mind, right? When we think about the word self sabotage, what does that actually look like? What does that actually mean? What is that? And excuse me, with self sabotage, it's us engaging in behaviors that are detrimental to the relationship. So, ask yourself every time I get in a relationship, do I always seem to find fault with the people or the person that I'm in relationship with? Right? Like, how hard is it for you to be in a relationship and not look for red flags, right? So, kind of thinking of it from that perspective. Hey, when you all come in, let me know where you're tuning in from. I want to shout you out. But thinking about it from that perspective, when I am in a relationship, and these are some of the questions that I want you to ask yourself, and this is going to help you kind of figure out, hey, have I been self sabotaging? Have I been engaging in behaviors unknowingly that are self sabotaging? Okay. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. And if you answer yes to any of these questions, more than likely you have been sabotaging your relationships. Number one, every time you think about the last 3, 4 to 5 relationships that you have been in those relationships, have you broken it off? Have you been the one to break it off? And whether it's, we just weren't on the same page, this just is not the person for me. She was crazy, he was crazy, and this is our favorite thing. Oh, they were a narcissist. But I want you to think about that. Think about the last 2, 3, 4, 5 relationships that you have been in. In those relationships, have you been the one to break the relationship, to break off the relationship? Yes. If yes, hey, Abigail is joining us from Norfolk. Hey, Abigail. Make sure that you all are sharing this. Invite your friends to join in on this conversation. So, the last couple of relationships, have you been the one to break things off for whatever the reason? Have you been the one? Have you been the one to break things off? So, a lot of times, the women, I'm just going to specifically talk about the women for just a second. But in the women that I coach, in when I do my relationship coaching, the women that I coach that are engaged in self sabotaging behaviors, it sounds like this. He's a narcissist. No, he just something. Look, listen, something about him. Just wasn't right. I could just tell. So that's number one. Have you been the one to break off the relationships? So the past couple of relationships that you have you been the one to end things with them? So that's number one. I want you to think about that. Number two, do you find that you are always looking for things, right? Like it's almost like there's a part of you that's waiting for the other shoe to drop. So it's like, nah, this is too good to be true. Right? Do you hear yourself saying that, thinking that, feeling that way? This is too good to be true. Always looking for the red flags, like I don't trust him. It's just something. Nah, he's just too good. Do you always find that you are looking for red flags? Now, mind you, what we look for, oh, you are going to find, right? So if that's where your focus, if that's where your attention is, then that is exactly oftentimes what you will find, right? So that's number two. Do you find that you are always looking for or finding Red flags. That's a red flag for me. Yeah, I don't see how he's chewing. you see you see the way he's chewing? Red flag. He something about him. Red flag. Um, I texted him and it took him 5 minutes to text back. Something I just red flag. Now I'm making that up, right? But I want you to think about that. When I am engaging in relationships, am I always looking for, do I find that I always am critiquing or criticizing the person that I'm with? So that's number two. I want you to think about that. Is that your experience? Right? Is that you? Now, if any of these things sound like you, it is not to beat you up. It is to help you identify whether or not you may be engaging in self sabotaging behaviors. And we're going to talk about why that happens. So we're going to talk about why it happens and then what we can do to stop it from happening because you deserve to be in a healthy relationship. And so I want to help you get to that place. Okay. So that's number two. Number three, is it really easy for you to cut people off? I mean, like you have those scissors, you got your knife, and you just, like, is that your thing? Is that your thing? Like, I will cut you off. And when I cut you off, I won't even remember. Like, it's really, and this is not only just in romantic relationships, but in all friendships. Do you find that very easily you cut people off? Like, you have your scissors, the proverbial scissors, and you whip those things out and quickly cut people off, right? So think about that. Do you have a pattern in other relationships as well as cutting people off? Do you have that pattern of where you cut people very quickly? Doesn't take much. I'm gonna cut you off. No, it's mm-mm, mm-mm. And then number four, when you do get ready to cut things off, when does it tend to happen? Right? So I want you to think about that. When I do cut these people off, when does it tend to happen? Is it when things start getting too serious? So for my ladies, this would be this is the time where y'all have been dating, things are going well, kiki ha ha, you have a good time with this individual, and now he's starting to have the can we talk? We need to talk, right? So he's now showing you that he is into you. He's showing you that he's feeling you and you and you find yourself pulling back, right? You find yourself backing off. It may sound like this: oh, he is too clingy, he is too needy, he is doing the most. What is he doing? Because he's consistently showing that he's interested in you, right? So that's the things that I want you to think about. In the past, when you have terminated these relationships, when did it happen? Was it right when he started to say things like, yo, I'm really feeling you. I really like you. I really enjoy spending time with you. Um, I want to get serious with you. Is that the time? And I want you to think about what happens when he says that to you. What in your mind changes? What begins to happen? Because before you were looking at him, he was cool, it was all right. When he was kind of, you know, um, non-committal, right? When he was non-committal, when he was like, I'll call you when I want to, and yeah, you want to go out? All right, we'll go out. Maybe not this time, but I got you next time. Right? You were good with that. But as soon as he started to show consistent interest, do you notice that those are the times when you pull away, when you cut ties, when you use the word clingy, right? And so this could be for our men as well, right? I'm kind of picking on the ladies a little bit, but this could be for men as well, right? So in the relationships, you and her, y'all have been chilling, you've been kicking it, it's been good, you've been enjoying each other's company, right? You go visit her or whatever, And we're not in a relationship, but I can call her when I want to. We can go hang out. She comes over, I come over, and all of that is good. And then she starts to say, or you start to notice, man, I like hanging with her. But nah, 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 nah. This getting too serious. And then it's nah, let me ghost her. All right, let me back up. She might text. I won't respond back for a couple of days. Do you notice that pattern? And that's for the fellas, right? Are you noticing patterns like that? As soon as you feel yourself starting to like her a little too much, right? You like, yo, you wake up, "Ah, let me check in on her," or something happens during your day and you find that she is the one that you want to reach out to. Is that the time that you start saying, wait a minute, hold on, let me, I'm doing too much. Let me back up. So that's something that you want to think about, right? When you get ready to cut ties, when does it normally happen? Is it right before, right after somebody expresses interest, right? Like, I want to take this further, I want more. Do you notice that there's a pattern that when that happens, that tends to be the time that you pull back? Right. So those are some things I want you to think about, because if that is what you've noticed, is that during these times, those are the times that you tend to pull back, then that is indicative of our self-sabotaging, right? That you may actually be engaging in some self-sabotaging. In those times as well, I want you to think about, do you find yourself picking fights? Like, why? What did this person did nothing to me? Why am I picking fights? Like, just little things. I don't like the fact that you got on those blue shoes with those black pants. So we just picking fights, right? Um, the other thing too is jealousy. All right. So it's this idea of I don't want you doing this, right? So if this person is connected to other people, do you notice that when you see that they are connected to other people, or they are, I don't know, enjoying time with other people? Is there something in you that kind of rises up? Do you find that you get a little bit jealous? Right. So those are some of the things that I want you to think about. And if you answer yes to any of those things, then you may be self sabotaging in your relationships. So let's talk a little bit more about, okay, if I am self sabotaging, why am I doing this? What's the issue? Why am I doing this? Because I'm saying I want to be in relationship. I'm saying I want to have a connection with someone. But I always find myself saying, you can't trust these people. It's no good. Men or women out here. Um, every time I get in a relationship, and you fill in the blank, whether all the men, it's always something with them. Or if you're getting in relationships with the women, oh, it's something happened with her. She just wasn't the one. Or everybody, something is wrong with everybody. Now, if something is wrong with every single body, then I want you to start looking at you. You are the common denominator, right? So I want you to think about that. That is an issue. If you look back over all of your relationships, you've broken it off with all of them for one reason or the other. And when you've broken it off, it's been because it's connected to a certain time frame. More than likely, you're engaging in self sabotaging behaviors. Now, there's a couple of reasons why it happens. The main and biggest reason is fear. So I want us to talk about that. This whole idea of fear, right? How does fear, and y'all can throw that in the comments, I want to kind of hear from you all, but when you think about fear and how fear can play a role in self-sabotaging behaviors, what comes to mind? Like, how does fear play into this whole idea of sabotaging, and especially in relationships? So when you think about that fear, how does fear play a role in this? How are you thinking that fear would make somebody purposely do things so that a person would push them away or in the relationship? So that's what we're talking about, right? When we talk about self-sabotaging in relationships, we're talking about doing things so that relationships end. Now, mind you, hey Maxwell, good to see you. Now, mind you, when we're talking about this whole relationship ending, it's what is causing it to end, right? Like, what are the things we've talked about, what the things are that we may be doing that's causing it to end, right? So we may pick fights, and this person is like, look, what I'm not going to do is to I'm not going to keep arguing, going back and forth. I'm not doing that. And so then the person ends the relationship. Now, what have you already said? See, I knew it. I knew this person wasn't committed. I knew it was something about them. And it becomes what we call a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you have already said men are no good, or all women are just, whatever they say, whatever people may say about women. And you go into the relationship with that mindset, right? And then you begin to look for these things. And as soon as you either see it or as soon as you don't see it, right? Because things may be going really good and you're like, wait a minute, now this is too good. And you become uncomfortable. If you notice that that's the time that you tend to pull away, then you may be self-sabotaging, and it's connected to fear. So I was trying to see if anybody kind of knew why fear would come into play. And if you feel like you do, go ahead and throw it in the comments. Um, as y'all come in, let me know where you're tuning in from. Like, share, subscribe. We're on YouTube as well. Invite your friends in for this conversation. So fear plays a big role. When we're talking about fear in relationships and why we would self sabotage, what we're really saying is, I have been hurt in the past and it hurt me so bad. And I said, I will never, right? So we make an inner vow and we say, yeah, what I'm not finna do is ever let this happen again. So I am going to make sure it doesn't happen. So that fear of being hurt or fear of rejection, right? So let's say if we were in a relationship before and we really were digging this person and we allowed ourselves to be vulnerable. And maybe we shared things with this person that we had never shared with anyone else. And this person um, shares that information, breaks up with us after we have gone above and beyond to be there for this person, and they break up with us, we may feel rejected, right? We may feel as if this person has rejected us. And so that fear of allowing that to happen again. Now, the other piece to this is we have this sense of, I don't want to feel weak. I don't want to feel powerless, right? So when we're talking about feeling weak, when we're talking about feeling powerless, if what we're talking about is in those previous situations, whether it was romantic, whether it was things that happened to us growing up, but in those situations, whenever we have had something to happen to us that was painful, that was traumatic, and we could not control it, we oftentimes make inner vows and we say, I won't ever let that happen to me again. Right. So if something happened to us and we could not control it, we may begin to believe that we are weak or powerless. Right. We may start to believe that about ourselves. And so what we do is, no, that's not what I'm fitting to let happen again. Right. So we work extra hard to maintain control. So this then plays out in relationships, the self-sabotaging behaviors. So when things start to get too emotional, right? When things start to get too intimate, right? We notice that we're starting to really connect with this person. We notice that when we wake up, we're thinking about that person, or that's the person that we want to talk to about something good that happened, or maybe something bad happened, and this person you really are able to connect with, like they get you, right? And so you're like, man, let me call so and so. Like, I can't wait to tell so and so what happened. If you're coming from that place of woundedness and you haven't healed, that is going to be scary for you, because what you are recognizing is that you're starting to emotionally connect with this person, and that's a trigger. It triggers a memory of, well, the last time I emotionally connected with someone, I got hurt. And so then we begin to pull away. We begin to say to ourselves, oh, wait a minute, no, I'm not going back there again. Now, understand that a lot of times this is a subconscious thing that's taking place. These core beliefs, right? The when we talk about core beliefs, I'm going to teach just for a moment so that you can understand the principles. And this is going to make sense. So, in the past, when things have happened to us, we develop belief systems. We develop beliefs about things. We believe things about ourselves, about others, and the world. Okay. So, if in the past we have had difficulty connecting to other people because every time we connected, something happened, something bad happened, we may begin to believe that we are weak and powerless. That's what I spoke about earlier. We may believe that we can't trust or depend on other people. And we may come away with the belief that relationships aren't safe. Like, I'm just not cut out for relationships, or relationships aren't safe. Like, you need to have multiple relationships because trying to be monogamous is for the birds, right? You may begin to believe these things. This is what we will call a harmful core belief. So you may start to come into agreement with lies, things that are not true. Right. So that's the core belief. That's kind of how that plays into there. Right. So over time, as things happen, those beliefs become cemented, right? If it continues to happen, well, then I come away with the belief that, yep, I told you, I'm not cut out for relationships. I'm not cut out for long term relationships, or can't trust people, or it's not safe to let my guard down in relationships. So, those are some core beliefs that when you start to connect with other people may raise up and may get triggered when you notice that you're starting to get connected to someone, right? You're starting to really like this person, or you notice that you're depending on them for an emotional need being met. That can be scary. And so when that happens, it triggers a reaction in you. And you be like, wait a minute. Nope, let me pull back, and you start to pick fights. Or I don't like how he chooses food. I don't like, now his breath stink. All this time, now his breath stink. Like, sis, come on. Or nah, I don't like her. She too fat. Sir, you've been dealing with her this whole time. You had no issues with her, but now she nags. She is a nagger. Now I don't like her. She nagging, or she too picky. Look at my face. I want you to think about what is really happening here. And so, recognizing, what is the fear? What am I afraid of? Why is this coming up for me now? When I have broken off the past relationships, when do I notice the pattern? How long do I tend to stay in relationships before XYZ I see something happening? This is the important part of becoming self aware, right? Where we are starting to recognize when we are engaging in the self sabotaging behaviors. So it's really important for us to recognize, what is my pattern? If in the past I have been the one to break up with every single body, or the majority of the time, why am I breaking up with these people? When am I breaking up with these people? How am I feeling? How am I feeling? and recognizing if there's fear there, that you need to kind of look at that fear. And if it's the fear of, I'm afraid of getting hurt, listen, that's a valid fear. Don't run from it. Don't beat yourself up for feeling that way, right? So what I always teach is, okay, let's sit in that. Listen to it. What are you afraid of? I'm afraid gonna get hurt. Why think you're gonna get hurt? Like, you can have a whole conversation with yourself. Why are you afraid you're gonna get hurt? I don't know, because the last time I connected with old girl, like, yo, it did not go well. Okay. Yes, that is true. The last time you connected, she was whatever, and it didn't work out well. You're right. Is this old girl? Nah, this whole nother girl. Is she like her? Nah, not really. Like, yo, she got a lot of nice personality traits. She is honest. She's upfront with me. She's loyal, dedicated. Like, yo, I'm really digging her. Okay, then. Right. So those are the things. So what I just did there was we kind of challenge, we call that challenging. So we identify what the fear was, right? And our fear is a feeling which comes from our thinking. So we got to kind of go back to what am I saying to myself that's creating these fears? So that person was able to identify what they were saying. They were saying that they were afraid that this relationship, this person was going to be just like the last relationship. So we were able to identify what the distorted thought was, right? And then we challenged it by saying, well, is that true? Just because you believe it, right? You jump to the conclusion that this relationship was going to have the same outcome as the other relationship. And the reality is, just because it happened before doesn't mean it's going to happen again, right? So, in times where you are finding that you're self sabotaging, it is going to be very important for you to explore why you're feeling the way you're feeling, and being okay with what you're feeling, but then doing the work of going a little bit deeper. Why am I feeling this way? What am I saying to myself that's causing me to feel afraid, to feel worried? And then challenging those thoughts and replacing them with the truth, which is, just because it happened in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen again. This current partner is not that other partner, right? And so doing that work on a consistent basis is going to be very helpful when you notice that you're having that fear is showing up. And I don't want you to run from it, and I want you to know that it is normal for that fear to come up. It's just like, um ooh, I don't know if any of y'all, hey Patina, I don't know if any of y'all have ever ridden a horse before. But those animals are huge. Like, they are huge. So I got on one and I went for a ride, and the horse I was on, that little sucker was terrible. Like, he was just hard-headed and disobedient. He wouldn't go the way I was trying to tell him. It was just terrible, right? Oh, it was like, yo, at the end, I was like, yo, if I could spank you, I would. Like, I believe in spanking. I was I would spank the mess out of you. Right? Okay. Now, that did cause a little bit of fear for me, because I'm like, first of all, I already was afraid, because they, like, when I'm standing there and I'm only coming to the underside of your belly, like, yo, you are huge. There is the potential that I could get hurt, that this could not go well. So there was that potential, there was that fear there that this could really not be good. And then I got on the horse, and it sort of kind of was a little bit like what I was afraid of it being happened. When I got off, a part of me was like, yo, I'm not ever, ever getting back on another horse. Now, the next time an opportunity comes for me to ride a horse, I have a choice. I can either say, "Nah, I'm not getting back up there," because the last time I got on a horse And this horse could be totally different because what I didn't really think about is that horses have personalities. Did y'all know that? That horses have like whole personalities. Like they have their own demeanor. Each horse is different. So you have horses that are really gentle, that are docile, that will go where you tell them to go. And then you got some other horses like mine's that are just like they need a spanking. Right? But if I go into the situation saying, nope, I'm not getting on this horse because this horse is going to be like the other horse, that's not the truth. Even though, yes, the last horse ride was terrible. And the whole time I was up there, I was praying, I was breathing. Listen, I was having to do my deep breathing. It was not a pleasant experience. Like, I'm just going to be really honest. But that does not mean that the next horse is going to be like that. But so next time I know, hey, tell me about these horses. What is the personality of this horse? I need the most calmest, gentle, meek, is okay with me leading it. Like, let me get that horse. So I have a choice. And that's the same thing. So I use that example just to kind of show that when it comes to relationships and our fears, we can either stay stuck in the fear of what could happen, what might happen based on the past, or we can go into relationships excited about the opportunity to be in a healthy relationship. And when those fears come up, because if I get back now, I haven't got back on another horse. But if I do get back on another horse and that fear begins to rise up, I can let myself know, hey, Ray, take it easy. Take it easy. This is not the last horse, right? You're going to be okay. So, those are some of the things that we can do in those moments where you feel yourself starting to connect with this other person and it becomes scary for you, right? So you kind of notice that you are looking to connect with this person, you're really enjoying them, and then all of a sudden they start getting on your nerves. More than likely, that's a fear that's kicking up. So when that happens, that's the time that you want to start saying to yourself, okay, wait a minute, what's really going on here? Why am I tripping? Why am I picking fights? Why am I pulling away? All right. And in those moments, reassuring yourself that, wait a minute, this is not that last horse. This is not the last relationship. I'm safe. I'm okay. I am okay. So I always encourage my um, clients to begin to assess, have I been self-sabotaging the relationships? And if so, doing the work of learning how to identify the fear, challenge that fear, and replace the thinking that's connected to that fear. That's going to be the biggest thing, especially for my ladies. And now I want to kind of talk just specifically to the ladies. So a lot of times we as women, we have a desire to connect, and we have a desire to be intimate, right? And not in necessarily a sexual way, but just the connection with your partner, having that connection, having your person. And I love saying it like that, right? So having your person, this is the individual that you can go to when they're your safe space, right? When life is beating you up and you are in need of connecting with someone that gets you, there's no judgment there. You feel safe with that person. That is what a lot of my women say, that, I want that. I want to have that connection where I could just be me. I can be me, and there's no judgment, and I feel safe there. And so a lot of times women, we have that desire, but that fear takes over. And when that fear takes over, boy, we hightail it out of there. We are quick to pull the knife out and to start cutting and to get out of there. So for those women, and there's a lot of women that I coach who are in that position where they're saying, listen, I want to start connecting. I want to learn how not to run every time that fear comes up. And not only do I want to learn how to connect and not run when that fear comes up, but when I'm in these relationships, I want to stop being so hard. A lot of times, because we are afraid of someone taking control, someone being over us, right? Because we've felt powerless or we felt weak. So we work really hard to maintain a sense of control. So in relationships, that comes out as us being domineering, us trying to control the man, us trying to, no, but I ain't finna do it. Right? Sis, calm down. Take it easy. It's okay. The other thing is a lot of times we are saying, hey, where are all the men at? Right? Where are the men? I am tired of doing XYZ. I want to have the support of a man. Well, if you want support of a man, you can't act like you're the man, right? You have to allow yourself to start feeling safe enough to not have to try to run the show. And that takes practice, that takes support, it takes practice. And when it comes to being soft, when it comes to feeling safe enough to be the woman that you want to be, so that he can be the man that you're saying you want him to be, sometimes we need help. And so, my course called Love Like You've Never Been Hurt Before is designed for those women. Now, this course is not for everybody, it is specifically for the women who are desiring to connect with their softer side and are desiring to learn how to let go of the fear so that they can have the relationship that they're looking for. So, Love Like You've Never Been Hurt Before is designed to do just that. It's designed to help you stop self sabotaging these relationships. So, I'm excited to be able to offer that for those of y'all who are interested. I want you to email or message us and say, Love Like You've Never Been Hurt Before. That's all you got to say in this message. Um, Send us a message. You can connect with us on Facebook Messenger. You can connect with us on Instagram. You can connect with us on LinkedIn or on our website, www.rdhcounselingandconsulting. You can connect with us there and we will send you the information and you can sign up for when the course starts. You'll already have heads up. So make sure that you are following us on, follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Make sure that you are subscribed on YouTube and make sure that you are following us also on Facebook so that you get notified when we're going lives, when we are doing our shows, when we have events and resources available for you. Any questions? I always like to leave space open for questions. Any questions? And even if you are coming back and watching the replay, I want you to put your questions in here and we will definitely get them answered. And make sure that you put, what is it, hashtag replay. That way I kind of know that you watch this afterwards. And if you have specific things that you want us to cover in our Relationship Fridays, Friday relationship shows, let us know. We are here. We are here to serve you, and we want to help you become your healthiest self, especially when it comes to relationships. So, this has been another Relationship Friday. I have thoroughly enjoyed my time with you all. Hopefully, this was helpful. Share this with someone that you recognize and notice that this person always cut ties really quick. Maybe self-sabotage. And even if it's a person that you're in relationship with and you notice that they are picking fights. As soon as y'all start having a good time, things are starting to get close, you notice that they kind of ghost, they kind of pull away. This person may be engaging in self-sabotaging relationship behaviors. And this gives you some information. Now, the other part of it too, though, is if you're in a relationship with someone who is afraid of being in a relationship, right? They are afraid of getting hurt. That's what we're really talking about. It's less that they're afraid of being in a relationship, and it's more that they are afraid of being hurt and they believe that they are not capable of being in a relationship, recognizing signs and kind of managing a relationship. So it really is less about you and more about their feelings of insecurity or inadequacy when it comes to relationships. So in that case, that person has their work to do and you have a decision to make. You can either try to help and support them. Um, at the same time, it is their responsibility to do their own work. And if a person is unwilling or unable to be emotionally available to you, honey, you deserve to be in a relationship with someone who is emotionally available. You deserve to have the type of relationship that you desire, right? And it's nothing wrong with being in a relationship with someone that's emotionally available. Like that is basic. That is like that's the basic standard. Like if you cannot be emotionally available, what are we doing again? I'm just saying, what is we doing? Like the kids say. So those are some things to kind of think about when it comes to in relationships, what it is that you're looking for. If you are noticing that your partner is not able to do that, then you really do have the right to cut ties, to end that relationship. And it's important for you to assess you as well. Have you been the one sabotaging the relationship? And if you have, then it's time to stop. You can stop. I want you to look at why you're sabotaging. Is there a fear connected? If so, what is that fear? Address that fear, right? So if it's the fear of being hurt, if it's the fear that this is going to be like the last time, I want you to challenge those thoughts. How you think makes you feel, and then you behave from your feelings. So if you are saying to yourself, or if you notice those automatic thoughts, see, he's just like so and so, or this relationship is going to be just like, mm-mm, stop. Stop right there. Challenge and replace that pattern of thinking so that you can feel differently and behave differently. So, for all of my ladies who are wanting to learn how to stop self sabotaging, you're wanting to learn how to become softer and lean into your femininity so that you can have the relationship and the intimacy with your partner. The love like you've never been hurt before course is just for you. So, reach out to us. All you got to say is love like you never been hurt before, and we will send you the information for when the course is going to start. You'll be able to register for that course. We are going to be doing a master class. I think it's next week. So y'all will be getting, if you're not on our email list, um, get on it. You can message us, and we keep people up to date with when things are happening. So you'll know firsthand if you're on our email list or if you're connected to us via Facebook. So subscribe, follow, like, share. And this has been another wonderful Relationship Friday. If you all have specific things that you want us to cover, talk about, leave that in the comments, message us. We will get back with you and we will make sure that we are tailoring our content to fit your needs. Any questions? I'll give you a minute to throw any questions in. If you are watching the replay, hello and welcome. Put your questions in there. We'll go back and look at them and we will respond to them during the week. All right. I'll give you a few seconds to throw your questions in there. And while we are, and give 1 second, I'm going to go over to, because we are streaming to YouTube and LinkedIn. So let me see if there are questions over here as well. And if there are not any questions at this time, I will talk with you all next Friday. You all be safe, be blessed, and we'll talk with you soon. And y'all have a great rest of your weekend. Do something to take care of you. Engage in your self care. Y'all know I always talk about self care. So do something to take care of you. You deserve it. And y'all have a great rest of your day.